Hey guys, Mr. George Dream is here with another build video. Today we're going to be looking at Ines and her Transcendent mod Plasma Bullet, with the intent being for Onslaught, but it's some added bonus here. You can actually use this everywhere. The only place I wouldn't really use it is Void Abyss Boss, and even then you can use it if you really want to, even though I don't think it's the best idea. It does work. It's actually a great time. Putting this together, it took a couple days, did some experimenting. I found a combination that gives you damage, survivability, all the great stuff. We will be going over the Ancestor mod and all that jazz. For me, for something to be Onslaught ready, you get to clear with at least 20 billion damage on average. With this build and my Ancestor mod specifically, I'm getting anywhere from 20 billion to 35 billion. It kind of depends on some factors, some roles, and how the teams comp. And this is in public queue. I do play with friends, but I've done a lot of testing in public queue just to try to get the most real in their experience possible. All right, so let's start by talking about Plasma Bullet and how this affects Ines. The easy stuff, if you're familiar with Ines, her 2 is going to function basically the same way, and her 4 doesn't have any noticeable changes, like very super important changes. The highlights of the changes of Plasma Bullet is her 3 no longer does the Thunder Punch. You're going to do a dash forward, and you can use this to reload your weapon. I don't use that, but we can go over that in a little bit. Her 1 works the same, except for now, when you toggle it on, your bullets have a chance of bouncing the balls around. You basically have a lot more stacks than just like I think it's 3 she normally has. And the higher fire rate, the more active this is going to be. The way that they throttle that back is it does cost MP. You do have an MP recovery option on your passive ability, but if you use something with too high of a fire rate, you're going to be running out of MP. So there's kind of like a balancing act going on here. And then your passive, some important things to notice is on multi-firearm hit on enemies with Conductor, which is your 4, it can trigger the Dark Current. It's a 30% trigger on multi-hits, which we will get into that. The math on the damage is a little confusing for me. I don't understand it, but what I do understand is its results. And her max MP is the most important stat by far. If you have 700 MP versus 800 MP, you're going to have significantly noticeably less damage. Like I'm talking millions less, potentially billions by the end of an Onslaught run. So 800 MP is extremely important for Ines now, and I cannot press that enough. Here's a quick demo of what some of that looks like. Something else I forgot to mention you can use her 3 for is you can actually use it to build up her special resource, get a head start on that. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to trigger your 1, and then you just shoot, and it shoots her balls everywhere. As you can see, it's pretty smooth, and then you can even use it to reload her weapon. All right, now we're going to look at current bonding trigger mod. This is also really important if you want to be doing boss damage. What this allows you to do is bonus damage. You're going to put a leash on the enemies, and you do bonus damage by shooting them with your projectile, which is your 1. The damage difference between having this and not having this is massive against bosses. Can't recommend this enough. I'll give you a demonstration of that here in a minute. You also will get electric skill power proportional to the amount of electric snare stacks. So the more enemies that you're tethering, the more damage you'll end up doing. I'm going to demonstrate on this poor Colossus. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you have your 1 toggled on. You're going to use your 2 ability. You see the tether? That means we're locked on. And then you start shooting. All I got to do. It's very easy. It's a very wordy on the description, but actually using it is very easy. All right, now we're going to talk about the Ancestor mods, the really exciting stuff. So first, I want to stress this, what you're looking at right now is the base blueprint. You can use this and adjust accordingly to what your Ancestor mod situation is. This setup does work without an Ancestor mod and everything but Onslaught. Onslaught, you really need the Ancestor mod to back you. But if you just want to use Plasma Bullet and have health, this is a really good build. Now, what are we looking for in an Ancestor mod? Personally, what I am running is a crit damage, which is Transcendent, a max MP, and electric skill power boost ratio. The problems with this is MP is the most important stat. This is all damage. There's no negative, which means these are all low scaling, which sucks. I have hit 35 bill in an Onslaught run with this Transcendent mod. This is a good mod, okay? I chose to get rid of Frontline. Reason being for that is this gives a lot of crit damage, and I need to sacrifice something while maintaining survivability and keeping all my other stats high. All right, what does the Dream Ancestor mod look like? For me, it was going to be a 3 roll with 1 negative. You want max MP above 21%, skill cooldown as high as possible, preferably close to 30%, and then as much crit damage as you can get with some kind of negative that we don't care about, like defense. On the Nez, you don't really need the defense. You're going to be kind of squishy anyway. The reason for this is if you were to get that Ancestor mod, you can sacrifice NP conversion. And if you get rid of NP conversion, you can get rid of this mod that we'll go over here in a little bit. If you can get rid of both of those mods, you can afford emergency measures and frontline, or frontline and another HP mod. You get some freedom there with the Ancestor mod floating right here. The eyebrow raising mod that I chose to use is called Arche Concretion. This came out for Luna. It's not very popular because it takes away but 22% of your skill power boost ratio, which is not nothing, but I promise you won't notice it. The other thing that this does that we care about is each time you use a skill up to 30 stacks, you're getting a max MP boost of 1.3%. That's a little short of 40% MP increase, making it the largest MP increase that you can possibly get. I believe even over Ancestor mods, which is why this is so good to have. All right, so I skill spam to get my stacks up to 30. This is what you're gonna have to do in combat. You don't have to worry about this because you're gonna be using skills the entire time. My max MP is 825. This is with me changing to a higher MP roll. You really want about 20% to maintain that. The current mod that I've been using does not leave me with enough. So max MP of 12% is not enough to maintain that, but that is how it works. Now let's look at the rest of it because there could be some stuff that you guys have questions on. For damage, we got focus on singular, focus on electric for some ratio and some electric skill power. We got some more MP with the max MP. We only run one range mod, which is skill expansion. We do have cooldown for nimble fingers and MP conversion despite the negative max MP. And we only run one crit damage mod, which is skill critical hit damage. Now you may have noticed that there is no skill crit multiplier on here, and you do need that stat to gain the maximum MP, or excuse me, the maximum crit rate based off of her max MP, because it's an additive versus a multiplier, like a multiplicative. So you got to multiply that off of something, and we'll get to that right now. So guess where we're getting that multiplier from? None other than our reactor. I am running skill crit hit damage and skill crit rate. If you really want, you can drop the crit damage for cooldown, but I think we're giving up too much damage by doing that. I'm very happy with this setup. I don't have any issues with my cooldown by cutting some corners of some other places. So this reactor is 100% what I would recommend. All right, now for our component set, I'm using the very nice Hunter Auxiliary and Hunter Sensors for the skill cooldown. And then I'm running a 2-piece Shell Crusher, the memory, and the processor for the fire rate. Now on the Hunter Auxiliary, I have HP, MP out of combat, max MP, and then MP out of combat. On your Crusher Shut memory, you don't want this electric resistance and the firearm resistance. What you want is MP recovery modifier and probably defense, especially with us running Arche Concretion. I just haven't gone and farmed the perfect roll, and I've just been really lazy about it. Even then, it still works great, but that is the rolls that you would desire here. And then I just went with max shield to shield recovery modifier on my 4th piece. That's just my preference. Those aren't like crucial to the build. Another popular option that I see almost everybody running is the circulation 2-piece for the max MP additive. You do not need this if you use Arche Concretion. If you're not going to use Arche Concretion though, you are going to want this 2-piece instead, the processor and the sensor. All right, before we get to the weapons, I want to talk about the Arche board because it's really important with what we're doing with Arche Concretion. So first, I grab the HP for extra survivability because that's always nice. I go up, I grab all the MPs that you can. I grab the purple skill powers that I can, the crit damage, the crit rate for our mutant cell, we have the electric chain catalyst for that reduction of electric resistance on our enemies, because you're going to be hitting them all, so everybody's going to be weak to you. This I want to talk about is this is important because you need this multiplier to reach 100% on top of your reactor. You can't have just one or the other and still achieve it. You need both. That is why we run this. If you are not running Arche Concretion and you want a more traditional, what everybody else is using, which is still fine, this is the Arche board I'd recommend that you use. Now let's look at the weapons. I have one that I have not seen anybody use, and I do not know why, because in all of my testing, it is extremely good. With Ines, it's made for Ines. It's not very popular in Ines because it used to be bad. We'll go over it and how it works. It is the E-Buster. There are some other weapons that a lot are very popular that I feel like I'd be doing a disservice by not telling you about. That is the new Whirlwind. Works so well. I would even recommend you start with this because it keeps things simpler so you get used to the build. And then a lot of people are using Hammer and Anvil. I know mine's not put together properly right now, but just with testing it and using it, I wasn't loving it. I wasn't having fun with it. I get that's kind of like really good at taking out large areas at once, but I feel like both of these weapons achieve that just as well. So this is my recommendations. All right, let's talk about E-Buster a little bit. This is a multi-hit weapon. It is basically made just for Ines. It gives you electric skill power as long as you use your piercing projectile, which is just her one, which we'll go over how that works because that's a toggle. As you do this, though, you're going to get some electric skill power. It stacks up to 5 times. You're almost getting an extra 100%. It's not quite 100, but you're getting it almost an extra 100% skill power based off of having this gun in your hands and just spamming your one every once in a while. The other neat trick that it does is it gives you guaranteed multi-hits, which triggers her passive ability to do an extra detonation. And you can get 100% crit rate, or excuse me, 100% multi-hit with this weapon by using its unique ability. So what this looks like in the field is you just spam her one on and off. You'll see the stacks gaining. I wait till I'm at 5. You have 200 of these yellow rounds. Those are your guaranteed multi-hit rounds. So each shot you are just detonating over and over again. It is important though that you're going to have to re-proc this to keep your buffs active. The rotation that I use is I usually use my 2, empty a mag, empty another mag, and then re-proc it just one time. And then in areas where you have downtime and you can like refill your multi-hit ammo, it's also really easy to do. It's just important that you remember to re-toggle your one on, or else you won't get the damage from skill. All right, for our inversion reinforcement, I'm going to show you 2 different versions here. If you're going to use E-Buster, I recommend Arche Circulation Tactic, selective cellular stimulation for random amounts of HP coming back if you can't find orbs. This actually comes in clutch more often than you would think. And then just some damage reduction with combat adaptation. This will give you incoming damage resistance, so you'll be taking less damage up to 15 stacks as long as you keep killing things. Now, if you are going to run Whirlwind, I would give you Precision Shot. I would still go with the cellular stimulation, and then the Fierce Wind to give you an extra stack of its unique ability. Now, this is just going to be some extra tips and last thoughts before you go into Onslaught 3 with this. Things that you really need to avoid when it comes to your combat cards that come up each round. You do not want the middle option that gives you outgoing damage modifier for rolling or grappling. The modifier one specifically, because that will reset your Arche Concretion, and you have to do that multiple times. So that would be silly. If you have to take it, you can take the ones that's like up to 10 grapples, gives you flat skill power, because that doesn't go away as long as you don't die. So you can just reapply that every time. Those are fine, but the rolling and the grapple outgoing modifier are an absolutely not. I also don't recommend the 100% damage modifier, for the payoff being you take an extra 50%. I feel like this is just gonna get you killed. I've never seen anybody take this and not go down at some point and just be kind of a waste. Something else that might be a concern to some people is I'm not running front lines, because that is a lot of crit damage. If you get crit damage on your Ancestor mod, you're gonna have more than enough. Like, I promise, using this build, I'm getting more than 30 billion to 50 billion. If you play your cards right, you can even get up to 80 and 90 billion with this build, but you got to use like the death card for the 90 billion number. Like, it gets pretty crazy depending on what you get, and I'm not using that as a base. But these are all important things that you need to know before going into Onslaught Tier 3. You can even potentially carry with this as long as you stay on your feet. My build, I have 17,000 health. So that's pretty huge in like staying alive in Onslaught. So it's a big reason why I recommend this. If you guys have found anything in this video today helpful, or proc some ideas, or you want to talk about it, feel free to comment below, subscribe to the channel, like the video, help support channel growth. I appreciate all you guys. I am hoping to get more videos out like this. Ultimate SMO is also on my list, and I have hit almost 200 billion with my SMO build, so I'm very excited to show you guys that. Until next time, though, I do hope you guys have fun with Ines and enjoy your time in Season 3, Episode 4 of The First Descendant.